Okay, on this episode, I'm gonna do something a little special. I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna start doing this from now on. I'm gonna start calling these virtual signalers lying racist, far left, radical, liberal Democrats out on their lies. And I'm gonna call them out on their lies, not with my educated opinion, but with documented video audio evidence. So on this episode of Joy Reid, of course, the liberal media, far left liberal media, is going out of their minds over a dinner Donald Trump had at the Mar-a-Lago this weekend with Kanye West. Um, Donald Trump said that he had no idea that who Nick Fuentes was, and he was unaware of him being there. No one knows, but that's what I will say. If that is the truth, because I mean, Donald Trump is not um he's not God or Jesus, so he can tell lies. I'm not saying he has. I don't know him to lie at this point, but I'm sure he do lie at some point in his life. So I don't know, because it is kind of weird that he would have somebody come to his house and not know who's there, and he's a former president, not to mention a super businessman and a very large public figure, man of power. But that's not here or there. And Kanye West, as much as I love him, if he did unexpectedly bring this guy, because I'm not really familiar with Nick Fuentes, I know a little bit about him, but I didn't know he was anti-Semitic. I didn't know he was a Holocaust denier. And of course, I'm not with that. I'm not anti-Semitic. I love the Jews as well as Donald Trump loved the Jews. I'm pro-Israel, like Donald Trump is pro-Israel. So, and I believe the Holocaust happened. I just not something I never really like studied or got into. I did do a little bit study on it. Because I was at a point in my life I was reading about Hitler, but I read a few books about Hitler, but so I'm not really all that. I'm not a Jew, so I'm not all the way know about the Holocaust like a Jew maybe or somebody who's a historian. But I do know it happened, and I am not anti-Semitic. I love everybody. I love my neighbors as I love myself, as the scriptures say. And that means your neighbor is anybody outside of your body. So I don't care what color you are. I love you. Just to get that out of the way. And so like I say, I'm gonna let Jory go on with her lies, and I'm gonna let the truth silence her, and then I'm gonna chime in.
Tonight on the readout, we've got the white Christian men that built this country the first time, and we'll do it again. You think you can replace us? You're wrong. We will replace you. That is Trump's dinner guest, white supremacist, Holocaust denier, and incel leader Nick Fuentes. Trump claims implausibly that he'd never heard of the guy before he served him dinner at his private home. But even after being told who that is, Trump won't condemn white nationalism because of his long history of embracing it. Plus, voter enthusiasm is through the roof in Georgia, with the Senate runoff deadline just 8 days away.
I want to pause there 1 second, and I want y'all to hear what she just said, because we're gonna revisit that. And this is one of the things I want to make sure you hear this one more time, just for the record.
Because of his long history of embracing it.
Embracing
Voter
in white
enthusiasm is
supremacy.
through the roof in Georgia.
We will have
The Senate
proof later
runoff
on
deadline
to
just
tell you that
8
that's a
days
lie.
away. Meanwhile, Herschel Walker was MIA for almost a week, and we're still waiting to hear back from him about that debate that he demanded to have with me. What's up, Herschel? We begin tonight with a very extreme.
Why you didn't want to have a debate
case,
with
a
Winsome Sears,
meal
joyless
hosted by
Reid?
Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago with guests Ye, formerly known as rapper Kanye West, and Nick Fuentes, an outspoken anti-Semite and racist who does a podcast popular with fellow anti-Semites and racists from his mother's basement. Here's a sampling of what Trump's dinner guest is all about. Our secret sauce here, it's these young white men. That's what we call the secret ingredient. America and the world has forgotten about them, but not us. This is going to be the most racist. has since claimed to know nothing about Fuentes and says he didn't know who he was. He obviously does know Ye, who, let's face it, does not appear to have all the chips in his cookie these days, and who must have heard that, Ye's been denounced for making anti-Semitic statements before he invited him over. Trump claims that Ye brought the anti-Semite to dinner, so it's not on him. But he also reportedly said of Fuentes, I like him. He gets me. Trump dining with a white nationalist? Impossible, according to his campaign, as the meetup descends into a full-fledged public relations catastrophe. One longtime Trump advisor described it as, quote, an effing nightmare. Okay, are we really going to play this game? As if Trump dining with one of the country's most prominent young white supremacists is, surprising. Remember, he is the guy who told the far-right Proud Boys to stand back and stand by when he was asked to condemn white supremacists, before they broke into the Capitol. He also said this about the Unite the Right white supremacist rally in Charlottesville that left one counter-protester dead.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Very fine neo-Nazis, according to Trump. Nick Fuentes was at that rally, along with Richard Spencer, who helped to organize it. Spencer, a prolific and proud white supremacist, Muslim-hating propagandist, attended Duke with Stephen Miller, the architect of Trump's Muslim ban and child separation policies, who now spends his time suing the federal government for helping black farmers. Spencer has publicly stated that he considered himself Miller's mentor. Let's just pause on that for a moment. The person who was writing America's immigration policy was allegedly mentored by an alt-right white nationalist. Oh, and that's Spencer's term, by the way, alt-right, which is basically a cleaned-up word for white nationalist or fascist, Nazi. Steve Bannon, who once bragged that he made Breitbart the home of the alt-right, was later brought on as Trump's chief campaign strategist. He then had a direct line to Trump and the Oval Office, thereby cementing white nationalism and nativism as key components of Trump's national vision. It's like 6 degrees of separation to a white nationalist, and not even 6, more like 3 or 1. Then throw in the Republican Party, and it's like, well, everyone knows your name. 2 House Republicans, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Paul Gosar, participated in an annual white supremacist event organized by, wait for it, Nick Fuentes. After some backlash, Greene claimed.
I want to pause right here and add that dude also had a black reverend at that same conference, the America First Political Action Conference, had a black pastor speak at that conference. Just for the record, if you think I'm lying, go look it up. Jesse Lee Peterson spoke at that conference.
Well, she didn't know who white nationalism guy was, despite appearing chummy with him literally on stage. And then we have Matt Gaetz, who hosted Holocaust denier Charles Johnson, brought him as his guest to the State of the Union. Gaetz then claimed that he had no pre-existing relationship with the guy. Just happened to have an extra ticket lying around for the anti-Semite in my office. Ditto on Trump advisor Larry Kudlow, who once invited Peter Brimelow to a birthday party at his home. Brimelow is the promoter of white identity politics on an anti-immigration website called VDare that he founded in 1999. Kudlow said, well, he'd known Brimelow forever, just not the white nationalist part. And there you have it. The same tired excuse we're now hearing from Trump, who denies knowing who anyone is, denies responsibility, denies knowing who David Duke is, but you didn't know who he is. And behind every one of these denials is something more sinister. This creeping white nationalism and its entry as a central part of Trumpism, which is now just Republicanism, as an alternative but mainstream political philosophy. We have known about this for a very long time. We've said it. We've said it on this show. So let's just stop with the shock and the hand-wringing, the clutching of pearls. Instead, we condemn it. We call it out for what it is. This is another very fine people moment. Very fine people invited to dine in a former president's home. Join me now. Charlie Sykes, editor-at-large for The Bulwark and MSNBC contributor. Mara Gay, member of the New York Times editorial board and an MSNBC contributor. And Dana Milbank, opinion columnist for The Washington Post and author of The Destructionist, the 25-year crack-up of the Republican Party. I'm going to go in reverse order to the way that I introduced you guys and start with you, Dana. Because the thing is, I think the only thing that surprised me about Trump having dinner with, Kanye used to be a really good rapper, but now he does West. And this
That's how they talk about their own people when we start thinking for ourselves.
How many times are we going to play this game of pretending Donald Trump has not been chucking with white nationalists since he went down that elevator? Dana?
It's so silly, Joy, and I think we owe Trump, in a way, a bit of gratitude here for just coming right out in the open. This isn't the white tablecloth Republican Party. This is the white nationalist Republican Party. We've been talking about the overtones of white supremacy in the party, but it really is now principally the melody. Now, I suppose the good news here is as Trump fades ever so slightly in the Republican Party, he clings more to the fringes. He plays the QAnon theme music at his rally. He's wrapping himself ever closer with the white nationalists. But the flip side of what's happening here is, who cares why Trump's doing it? It's elevating the white nationalists. It's getting them a national audience over
white man. It's man, I got so much to say after finish talking.
It's not just psychic now. There's actually a physical embrace.
There's a physical embrace, and they actually literally tried to overthrow the government for him, Mara. I mean, look, it's not as if white nationalists just popped up when Trump came along. There have been white nationalists in American politics from the very beginning. And there were white nationalists who used to be very much in charge of the Democratic Party. Okay, the Democrats had their turn. They just booted them to the side. Then they became the Dixiecrats. Then they became Republicans. This is not like some magic trick. These people have always been with us. They just keep switching parties. Now that they have control of the Republican Party, I feel like there's this collective sort of amnesia that happens every time Trump does something racist. They go, wait a second. Let me just read this is a non-exhaustive list. Trump allegedly praised Hitler to Chief of Staff John Kelly during his Europe trip. Vanity Fair magazine claimed that Trump's first wife, Ivana Trump, the lady Ivana Trump, claimed he kept the book of Hitler's speeches by his bed. These are old stories from the 90s. Black guys counting
and look at the black woman in the middle just shaking her head like she just so.
Short guys that wear yarmulkes every day, according to his own.
Now all this alleged. I got some facts for you.
Go on. This guy has a long history going after Japanese people, going after black people.
Lies, all lies.
I don't understand.
And if it was the truth, it would have came out before he ran president. It never come out till he supposedly was going to be president. I ended up being it.
Yeah, Joy, I completely agree, and I think and I hope that it's well past time to for all of us really to stop obsessing over why Trump is doing the things that he's doing with respect to these white nationalists and how the rest of us have allowed this behavior to go on, have allowed a man who palled around with these people and continues to be in the White House. And I think Republicans in particular, and you heard some of them starting to openly criticize Trump today, especially after those midterms a couple of weeks ago. It's really time for them to have some soul searching, not that we can expect that from them, but really about what they want their party to stand for and where they stand. I mean, every single member of the Republican Party, in my view, needs to be on record. Do you support white nationalism? Do you support Nick Fuentes? I mean, this is really a time for a roll call. I also just, it's hard because we have to wonder, we've always known that these people existed. To your point, Joy, they have always been here. The Klan has been around since redemption.
Democratic Party.
It's only recently.
Democratic Party started the Klan, the party that you probably support.
After decades of progress with a
and Miss Pro-Democrat Joy Reid, joyless Joy Reid.
Wilson, have we seen this kind of unabashed hatred from somebody who used to sit in the White House? So that really is in and of itself dangerous because that sends a signal that normalizes this hate and puts a target on the back of any American who is Jewish, LGBT, Black. Just let that continue. So this is a very dangerous moment.
Okay, now I'm going to play these next two videos to show you how racist Trump is. And after that, I'm going to chime in. Here we have the racist Donald Trump.
But based on the events that took place over the weekend in Charlottesville, Virginia, I would like to provide the nation with an update on the ongoing federal response to the horrific attack and violence that was witnessed by everyone. I just met with FBI Director Christopher Reid and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. The Department of Justice has opened a civil rights investigation into the deadly car attack that killed one innocent American and wounded 20 others. To anyone who acted criminally in this weekend's racist violence, you will be held fully accountable. Justice will be delivered. As I said on Saturday, we condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America.
For the record,
And as I
this
have
the
said
part of
many
the
times before,
Charlottesville address that
no matter the
Joyless
color of
Reid
our skin,
didn't show.
we all live under the same laws. We all salute the same great flag. And we are all made by the same Almighty God.
I like
we must
that.
love each other, show affection for each other, and unite together in condemnation of hatred, bigotry, and violence. We must rediscover the bonds of love and loyalty that bring us together as Americans. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. We are a nation founded on the truth that all of us are created equal. We are equal in the eyes of our Creator. We are equal under the law, and we are equal under our Constitution.
Amen. I'm going to play this last video for you guys, and I'm going to chime in. This last video is just for the record. Just for the record.
Did the 1994 crime bill. That's the super predator bill. So he did the super predator bill. And when you look at it, but Mark Levin is right. He's 100% right. No matter what you say, it won't make any difference. And I have to say, I've said it many times, and let me be clear again. I condemn the KKK. I condemn all white supremacists. I condemn the Proud Boys. I don't know much about the Proud Boys, almost nothing, but I condemn that. But he should condemn also Antifa. Antifa is a horrible group of people. They kill people. What they do to people, and they're causing insurrection, they're causing riots. He doesn't want to do that, but the press doesn't go after him, and that's a really bad group of people. But I condemn them, and if I say it 100 times, it won't be enough because it's fake news.
Exactly. Thank you, Trump.
President, I played earlier. Joe Biden is out there all day today saying you've never condemned white nationalists, you just did. You've never condemned segregation as you just did. You've never condemned the KKK, you have. And
doesn't matter how much time you condemn it, they gon' because most. Well, I'm gonna chime in after
tonight,
this.
sir. Is that correct?
Yes, but I've condemned them in the past. For years, I've condemned people, and I think almost everything that you mentioned. What hasn't been condemned is his crime bill, where he talks about super predators. And that was the worst thing.
You don't gotta apologize or condemn that when you're on the Democratic side, just when you're a Republican.
Of the black community, that was Sleepy Joe Biden.
Mark Levin went through, and we've done it on this program too, an exhaustive examination of Joe Biden and his history on racial issues. He did refer to Robert Byrd, the former Klansman, as my friend and mentor. That's the man that filibustered the Civil Rights Act. That's the man against the Voting Rights Act. And Robert Byrd was the man that Joe Biden partnered with to stop busing and integration of schools because, I'll use the words of Joe, he didn't want his kids going to schools that were a racial jungle. Are you calling on Joe Biden to apologize to anybody tonight?
Nope.
Condemning him for his remarks?
Because what he did was terrible, and he has to do it.
Now, I'm gonna start from the top here. I'm gonna start from the top. Joy Reid is a huge problem. And the reason why she's such a huge problem because the most people that listen to her is just like her. And so what that means is they're racist, they're angry, and majority of the time black. Now you do have a lot of white liberals, which is a huge problem. And I feel like white liberals are more of a problem than the blacks because they cater to the blacks. So and been over backwards. But Joy Reid is a cancer to America. People like Joy Reid are very evil and divisive and racist. And every time she opened up her mouth, she showed. But you know what's worse than being racist? Lying. And what I don't respect about these people like Joy Reid is they have these huge platforms. And let's be honest about it. Most people, not all, but most people in America today, especially these educated people, are brain dead. And so they turn it, because I know buku people who listen to this woman and think just like her. And when she's talking this foolishness that she's talking, they got their palms on jumping up and down, and they don't have the common sense to go and do their own research, which is not no heck of a research. All you have to do is a simple type in Google. I mean, the simple, well, Google or, whatever your search engine is, or YouTube, Trump condemning KKK, Trump condemning white supremacists, Trump condemning David Duke. But it's never going to be enough for them. But as you just heard, Joe Biden said his mentor, Robert Byrd, which was a grand wizard, was his mentor, and he's and a good friend. Nobody never asked him to condemn that. Nobody never asked him to apologize for that. When he said you don't vote for him, you ain't black. It wasn't a problem, right? And this is what's going on in America, and this is a huge problem. And hopefully soon, Joy Reid is going to be just like her sister girl, Tiffany Cross, and without a show, because these people are dividing America. It's not the white people, it's the blacks. And it started with Barack Obama, because you had the hate group BLM who was chanting, "What do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it now? Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon." And Barack Obama invited these people to the White House. And not only that, when Barack Obama came in office, black people are not all, but most black people are two-dimensional thinkers. They only think what's in the head, what's in front of them. Not They don't think for the future. And so they got extremely arrogant. And most black people are idolatrous to their race. They look at their race as like it's a god thing. It's no such thing as culture over kingdom with there's no such thing as kingdom over culture with black people. Their race is God, and then God come after that. And we know that with Barack Obama. I'll get in that another time. Um and so here you are, right, every night talking about the white man, and you even got these sad excuse for white men, which they're white liberals, like I said, which is a big problem. And you constantly spewing this hate, and people are listening to you, Joy Reid. People are listening to you. And I understand you racist. I understand you hate white people. But all I ask you is this here. Keep your mouth off Donald Trump. Keep your mouth off Donald Trump. Because guess what? That dude, Nick Fuentes, I'm not really familiar with him. But what I do know about him is I don't know everything about him, but what I do know about him is he's not racist. Joy Reid, I know you supposedly went to Harvard and all that, and I understand how dumb most educated people are. No disrespect, because if you're educated and you're not dumb, I'm not talking to you. But most educated people have no common sense. They have no critical thinking skills. And so Joy Reid said, okay, if you feel as though that Donald Trump is racist, give me a second. I'm pulling up some things here because I'm gonna read you. Not to mention, I got a lot of things off the head that I can say of Donald Trump and the thing that he did for America and for black people. We know Donald Trump has always been involved with black people. We know he helped black people with before he was president. Go look up on YouTube Donald Trump helping black people. Was it Judge Joe Brown? I think that was Judge Joe Brown. Go look on YouTube, a simple YouTube search. Judge Joe Brown tells about how Donald Trump helped black people with capital. You know what I'm saying? Go look up about. They had a story I seen about a black woman, and she's been staying in one of his establishments for I forgot for a long time and never had to pay him because she wasn't able. Go look up whenever Jennifer Hudson family was murdered. Her whole family was murdered. Who gave her a safe haven in his personal suite in Chicago in Trump Towers? Go look up these things. These are not things that racist people do. And like once again, going back to the young man Nick Fuentes, I'm not really familiar with Nick Fuentes, but I did watch one of his he hold a conference, I believe, every year. I believe, I don't know, this year, last year was the first time I heard of it. And if he was racist, he wouldn't have invited and had a black pastor speak at his conference, which was Jesse Lee Peterson. He wouldn't be hanging with Kanye West, and people might say, "Well, he'll hang with him for clout." No, 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 no. That's not how that go. Racist people don't like the other race under no circumstance. I know racist people. I know white supremacists. These people won't even sleep with a black woman. So they don't hang or kick it with people. They don't fake and they not like the white liberal. They not scared to stand on what they believe in. They don't like black people and they not afraid to say it and stand on that. So he wouldn't be hanging with Kanye West or he wouldn't be inviting black pastors to his conference if he was racist. And what I respect about it, even if Donald Trump knew about even if Donald Trump knew about him coming, which he said he didn't. And as of right now, we got to stand on what Donald Trump said. Let's just say he didn't know. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Donald Trump didn't know that young man was going. I mean, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Donald Trump did know he was going to be a part of that meet. Well, my thing is this. That's what I love. That's one of the main reasons I went over to the Republican Party, and that's one of the main reasons why I stopped watching MSDNC. Yeah, I said MSDNC, not MSNBC, because I say MSDNC because that's who they powered by. That's who they support. That's who they pro Democrat. You know what I'm saying? So they might as well just change their name and stop faking the funk and just be MSDNC. Um, and so what I learned was Republicans, Donald Trump, and people on the right, they at least willing to have a conversation with people that they don't even agree with. So for the sake of argument, let's just say Donald Trump did know he was coming, right? Sit down and let's see your views, why you think the way you think, and maybe we can come to a consensus to the point where I can help you overcome the way you think about Jews or white supremacy or whatever the views that the young man has, instead of me just, oh, you cancel like the left do. If you don't agree with the left, they automatically cancel you. They don't want to hear your side of the story. They don't want to do nothing. And that's one thing I always respect about Donald Trump. In the beginning, I remember he was with the black pastors, and he met with a lot of black people in the White House, especially when he signed the First Step Act. But let's get into that. So, as you heard in my video, Donald Trump on more than one occasion have condemned the KKK, condemned white supremacy, condemned the Proud Boys, condemned David Duke, just condemned white supremacists all the way around the board. And so now they calling for him to do it again. It doesn't matter if he do it again. It's not going to work. It's not going to suffice them because they hate Donald Trump. But let's see. I'm gonna read some things out that you can go do research on your own if you don't believe me. But these are some of the things that the racist president Donald Trump did when he was in office that he didn't have to do, because as we all know, black people are the Democratic slaves. So we vote 90% Democrat. We didn't vote Trump in. And so Trump didn't have to do anything for black people. But Trump understood that to make America great again, you have to involve all people. And majority of the time, the reason why Republicans don't do nothing for black people is because they know black people don't like them. They know black people feel as though that they the party of racism, which is a lie. Because if we do history, we know that Democrats is the party of racism. Democrats started the KKK. Democrats started the Jim Crow laws. Democrats voted against the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, right? which is ending slavery and black people voting. Democrats did all that. Now, of course, they came with the fake civil rights movement, which was a big mistake, by the way. And I got a video on why I say that. But they came with that, but that wasn't really nothing but a token to, but this party still today, as you know, it's still basically racist. Only thing now is it's not open. They always lie to black people, tell them what they want to hear, and bring up the big word, the big R word when it's time for election. Oh, race, 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 race. And they know when you speak about racism, the blacks, it puts them in a trance, and they lead them in that trance to the vote poll, and blacks vote for the Democrats. And as we all know, nothing ever happens. They never do nothing for black people. As we all know, even with a black president, he did nothing for black people. But Donald Trump, the white supremacist supporter, the racist president, and all this here, these are the things that he did for black people. And mind you, like I said, he came in on a Republican card. So he really didn't owe black people. I mean, he did because he as a president, you owe everybody in America something. But like I said, most Republicans don't do nothing for black people because they don't have the black vote. But Trump knew, once again, I'm gonna just repeat myself, that in order to make America great, everybody had to be involved. And and he understood how big black people are for this their power politically, just not so much politically, just black got a lot of power in America, because whether it be sports, rap, and Donald Trump was, open to everybody. When ASAP Rocky and Lonzo Ball got caught in those foreign countries, one phone call, they was here overnight. Here it is, Brittany Griner trapped in Russia. Now she did commit a crime, but hey, she's trapped in Russia, and they will not respect Joe Biden because, as we know, you guys, that y'all can go look up just so you think I'm not just talking. These are the things that Donald Trump accomplished, and not only that I'm gonna tell you what he did, I'm gonna tell you what he had planned versus what the Biden administration had planned. First of all, he gave long-term funding to HBCUs, and not only did he give them long-term not only did he give them long-term funding of $45 billion when all these other administrations, even y'all beloved Obama, made them beg for money, but he put them their own office in the White House, so future administrations got to continue to fund them. He signed the First Step Act, which released over 7,500 prisoners, 91% black, brought them to the White House, including Miss Alice Johnson, who Barack Obama and Democrat led right? He invested over $100 billion. He got major companies to invest over $100 billion in black communities, which achieved the lowest black unemployment rate in history. The black youth unemployment rate reached an all-time low, achieved the largest job gain for African Americans on record. Black Americans saw the largest increase in home ownership. The poverty rate for Black Americans reached the lowest level ever recorded. He lifted 6.6 million people out of poverty, the largest poverty reduction of any American president. Right? These are the things that he did for the black community. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that I just haven't wrote down because I just couldn't write everything down he did for the black community. But these are the things that he did for the black community. And I will put that record up against Biden, Barack Obama, and every Democrat ever, and they can't compete with it. Because they never did nothing for black people. None of them. Right? And when the Biden administration was asked, Kamala Harris. Oh, and I want to say this too. Immediately when Biden got in office, he cut that funding to HBCUs. Nobody said nothing about it, but I know about it. Anything I say in my videos, you can research it and you'll get it fact. Because I don't speak. Oh, well, I say opinion sometimes, but most of the things come out of my mouth is facts. When I'm talking about data and receipts like this, I'm talking about facts. Biden immediately came in office and cut HBCU funding that Donald Trump gave. And mind you, his Vice President Kamala Harris went to a HBCU. When they asked Kamala Harris, they said, "Well, Kamala, being that you the first so-called black woman that's going to be vice president of the United States. What do you have planned for the black community? And I ask that you go look at the video what she said. But this is what she said. She said, "I'm not going to specifically have nothing for just blacks. I'm gonna do it for America." But guess what Trump had for us? I'm gonna read this out to you. This is what Trump had planned had he got in a second term, and he named it the Platinum Plan. It was strictly for Black Americans, and this is what that was. He was going to increase capital. In other words, give money, get companies to invest in the Black community by almost 500 billion. 3 million new jobs for the Black community. Create 500 create 500,000 new Black-owned businesses. Make safe neighborhoods with high policing. Make the urban communities safer with high policing standards. Commit to working on a second step act. Remember, I told you the first step act released over 7,500 prisoners, 91% black. The number one reform president ever. Number one border president, the best president ever. Just to sum it up. But also, I want to continue reading this list of the promises that he had he been reelected. Advance home ownership opportunities and enhance financial literacy in the Black community, which is something that we really need. And remember, Black Americans saw the largest increase in home ownership his first term. More education opportunities that Black Americans can afford and choose. Bring better and tailored health care to address historic disparities. An immigration policy that protects American jobs from illegals when they come in the country and take those jobs. Most of the time, black people are hurt by that more than anybody else. Give blacks a better access to education and job training opportunities, and also onshore manufacturing to advance jobs and develop opportunities for black owned businesses. And it was more. But what I just did was read the thing that he specifically had planned for blacks called the Platinum Plan, when Kamala and Joe Biden had nothing specifically for blacks. Let them tell it they only had, well, let Kamala Harris tell it we were not focusing on just black, we focusing on America as a whole. So those things that I read that Donald Trump did in his first term, that he had planned to do in his second term, is more than any Democrat, Joy Reid, or anybody who ever did more than Donald Trump did more for black people than Joy Reid, Barack Obama, and any Democrat ever did and even tried to do. And now my hopes are, which I know he will, is because he love America and he know that a lot of black people hate him, but he know they do have a lot of black people like me that does support him wholeheartedly. And yes, I love Kanye, but I don't want to see Kanye president right now. He still got a lot of purging to do. He's not ready to be president. And I'm loyal to Trump, and I feel like he deserves a second term in 2024, and God willing, he will get that. But to conclusion, but I just wanted to speak on that. And I want people like Joy Reid. Hopefully Joy Reid will be filing her sister girl Tiffany Cross soon and be without a job, or let her go clean MSNBC front library or somewhere else a call. But her her racism on the national stage every day is dividing this country more than it's already divided. And it's just not good. Um, and when you look at people like Nick Fuentes, and this what I'm gonna say off what I briefly know about him. I don't really know a lot about him, so I'm not gonna really speak about it because I'm not educated enough about him to speak about it. But of course, like I say, I don't agree with his anti-Semite comments, and I don't agree with him being a Holocaust denier. That swept out the way. The rest of the stuff, how he seemed like he's standing up, he seemed like he's a white person who not racist, but he not gonna bow down like a white liberal. That's who he come off to me as. And I'm not saying that, but I don't know. But this is what I'm gonna say, and this to my black people now. People like Nick Fuentes, um, if they continue to have people like Joy Reid, Tiffany Cross, Jamel here, and all these race hustlers. Not to me, that's just the women. But if they continue to have these people that's these black women on like on the View, Whoopi Goldberg, son, if they continue to have this black um hate that's been able to be verbally spewed, can't say nothing about black people, can't say nothing about LGBTQ, can't say nothing about Jews, but it seems like it's this open season to just attack white people verbally and in some situations physically. That's not gonna end out. That's not gonna end well for black people. You know, you have these situations that I'm not justifying is wrong, where people like the young man Dylan Roof went in a black church and shot all the black people, the brother and the white boy and the white young man in Buffalo went in the grocery store and shot all black people. You know, you're teaching children in school that if they white, they're evil, and if they're black, they're victims in these liberal colleges. And like I say, it's being broadcasted by people like Joy Reid, Tiffany Cross, just openly racist. And you got the weak liberal whites who they just bend over backwards to prove that they not racist and they got white guilt. They part of the problem as well. And there's a lot of white people who get sick and tired of that. A lot of them don't say nothing because they know if they speak up, they're gonna be looked at as racist. And if they're in a corporate world, that can mean losing everything. Or if they're in the entertainment world, that could mean losing everything. But what is gonna come to if black people don't stop bullying white people, that's not gonna end well for black people. You're gonna see a lot of stuff happen. And guess what? Evil produces evil. It's evil to hate anybody. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's no slave that's living. It's no slave that's living right now, and there's no slave owner that's living right now. And yes, they have racism in the world from all races. I know more black racist people than I know white. And people may say, "Well, you can't be racist unless you have power." Well, that's not the truth, but that's still executed. And so this, people like Joy Reid is a cancer to the community. She's a cancer to the community for the simple fact that she keep that narrative to blacks that white people is evil, white people is racist, and it's okay to hate them and bully them. She's a cancer to America for all the people who listen to her and feel as though what she's saying is okay because she's on a national TV station. Nobody is condemning her. Nobody is saying nothing. I mean, you got people like the great Tucker Carlson, the great Sean Hannity, and they'll speak out against this moron. But for the most part, nobody say anything because guess what? She black. And if you say, and then she's a black woman, so if you say something, you're sexist, you're racist, but the stuff that she spews is hate. She spews hate. She don't spew love. And I guarantee you, she going to somebody's church every Sunday, jumping up and down, hooping and hollering. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, man, and I really hate to say what I'm about to say. But what I'm about to say is the truth. Most of these preachers, not all, but most of these preachers, most black people are racist. They hate white people. They say racial stuff out of their mouth all the time. And in their heart, they're racist. Right? And I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna say this one more time, and I'm about to close this. Black people need to get it together. Black people need to get it together. White people is not your problem. White people have nothing against you. Do they have racist white people in the United States? Of course. But you know what a racist white person, I gave this analogy once before in the episode or one of my videos. Dealing and worrying about a racist white person is like a leaky faucet. The real issues in our community, which is I can go on and on, black, no fathers in the home, black on black crime. Hell, we didn't kill a whole generation in the womb. Over 1,500 black babies are aborted every day. And that's the fire in a bedroom. So if you had a house, which one would you be worried about, the leaky faucet or the fire in the bedroom? We have to address the issues in our community. Leave the white man alone. Leave the white man out your mouth. The white man ain't the problem. And you know what? Another thing that kills me about these Joy Reids, these Tiffany Crosses, these Jamel Hills, and all these mostly black people that talk all this black power and white people racist and all this rhetoric that they speak. Soon as they get some money, they go run and live by the white folks. Ask them why they do that. You can't never get an answer from 'em. Ask them why If white people so racist, because all of them come up in the hood, right? Most of them did, and even if they didn't come up in the hood, if white people so racist, when you do get some money, go in your hood and build you a nice home. But you know why? Because they know who the enemy is. They know who their particular enemy is, and they know who they more. Every black person know the most. Like me, I always tell people, the reason would trigger me so much about people crying about racism is every mouth that ever spoke against me was a black mouth. Every hand that ever tried to harm me was a black hand. Any opportunity that was ever given to me was given to me by a Caucasian, not no black person. Black people that always want to hold other black people down. They want to do good. They want you. Some of them want you to do good, but not better than them. Black people are their own worst enemy. It's not the white man. But as long as you focus on him, you can't see who the real enemy is. But once again, they know who the real enemy is. I guarantee you, just like Maxine Waters, all these big mouth people, Maxine Waters, Corey Bush, Sheila Jackson Green, I don't even say Sonny Holston, Whoopi Goldberg. You name all these so-called big mouth blacks that say white people is so racist and America is so racist. All of them stay in white neighborhoods. Ain't one of them going back to the hood and build nothing, build them. They got the money to do it, to go build them a nice house in the hood, but they not gonna do it. They not gonna do it. They not gonna do it. They don't want to be around their own kind because they know how barbaric and destructive most black people is. It is what it is. It is what it is. I don't make the rules. It is what it is. Right? And so this video, like I said, was a Joy Reid special because I was watching it last night and it was an 11-minute piece I seen on YouTube. It wasn't the whole show. I couldn't imagine watching the whole show of Joy Reid. I don't know how long her show is, but I just couldn't imagine watching the whole thing. But I just wanted to make this video, and I'm gonna start doing that whenever they do all this lying on their shows, because like I said, most Americans they don't even some Americans just don't have the time, which is don't take but 2 or 3 minutes to go on YouTube and find these videos of Donald Trump or all the stuff they say, which is be lies, but they know most people not gonna do that. And the next thing is they do this because they know who their crowd is. Their crowd is mostly white people who liberal, and the black they really believe that black deal with racism and black they really believe that whites holding the black back, and the majority of their crowd is racist black people who hate white people, who hate Donald Trump, who's stuck on the Democratic plantation, and they know who their audience is, and they try to do all that stuff to appease them. But that's how they feel as well. But shows like that are very dangerous. It's very dangerous because it keeps most black people, which is like I say, most older black people listen to Joy Reid 40 plus, and listening to her just keep the narrative that white people holding you back, white people evil, white people racist, Donald Trump evil. But they'll never know the thing that I said Donald Trump just did. Now, if they listen to my video, they can go research and say, "Wow, why Joy Reid ain't say that?" And she played an excerpt from the Charlottesville situation a couple years ago, and I played the other part that she didn't want to play because it was gonna knock her whole show off and knock her whole argument and line narrative. It's gonna just punish it. And so, man, Joy Reid, you need to get yourself together and stop lying. Get that hate out your heart. And if you're going to a church, you leave that church and go to a real church where the spirit at, and ask God to take that hate out your heart for white people, so He can fill it with love, and you can spread love and unite America with truth instead of continually dividing them with lies. I thank y'all for watching this video. God bless.